Hello friends, welcome to the platform of Purvanchal IAS. This is our course on MPPSC History of Madhya Pradesh is the topic that we are discussing, and in this session we are continuing our discussion on the major events and major dynasties of Madhya Pradesh. We have discussed in the previous two sessions on the same topic, and we will be continuing our discussion on this topic. This is session number 3, or you can say the part 3 of the discussion on major events and major dynasties of Madhya Pradesh, and also it is session number 3. So Purvanchal IAS is a venture for sustainable education by Dr. Ravi Agrahari sir and his team. For online lectures of rest of the subjects, you can download our app from the Google Play Store, or you can call us on these numbers. Okay, so we have been discussing the in the course the first unit of the prelims exam of MPPSC. So our focus will be prelim specific discussion, and the first unit consists of the history, culture and literature of Madhya Pradesh. The first part of that unit is the major events and major dynasties in the history of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so this is the first part. The first unit we have discussed about this topic in the previous two sessions, and in this session also we'll be discussing on that. Later on we will be discussing on the rest of the topics of unit 1, and we'll try to complete this topic, right? So in the previous session we were discussing about the medieval history of Madhya Pradesh, and the discussion on the medieval history of Madhya Pradesh continues in this session, and the medieval history of Madhya Pradesh, and the next topic will be the important princely states of Bundelkhand. Modern history of Madhya Pradesh also we will be discussing in this session, and the contribution of Madhya Pradesh in freedom movement is something that we will begin our discussion on. So let us discuss about the medieval history of Madhya Pradesh. So the first topic here is independent Bundela state. So we have discussed a few of the dynasties and the states as far as the previous session is concerned of the medieval time. So the independent Bundela state is next in line, and Bundela state was the famous ruler of Bundela state, the dynasty was Chhatrasal, right? So Chhatrasal was famous not just like that, but because of the various things that he has done. He revolted against Aurangzeb. He occupied Panna in 1675 and made it his capital. He also captured various areas nearby, wherein Chitrakoot and Panna in the east and Gwalior on the west are the important areas over which Chhatrasal, the areas which Chhatrasal occupied. So Aurangzeb himself executed a peaceful treaty with Chhatrasal. So Aurangzeb was a Mughal emperor. He came and executed a peaceful treaty with Chhatrasal, and also conferred the title of Raja over Chhatrasal later on. So you can say, because of these things, Chhatrasal is one of the most famous ruler. You can say one of the most courageous and diplomatic ruler of his time as far as the Bundela state is concerned. So Chhatrasal is regarded as the founder of the independent Bundela state, and Hriday Shah Bundela of this dynasty later on made the Ganga Sagar reservoir near Garha. Right. So Bundela dynasty itself came to an end with the capture of Orchha by the Mughals under the leadership of Aurangzeb. Okay. So independent Bundela state is the one that we have discussed, and Chhatrasal was the famous ruler of this state. He revolted against Aurangzeb and also occupied Panna in 1675 and made it his capital. He also occupied various other areas like Chitrakoot and Panna and Gwalior, and he also executed a peaceful treaty here and conferred on him the title of Raja. founder of independent Bundela state Chhatrasalvas, and Hriday Shah Bundela of this dynasty himself, he made this Ganga Sagar reservoir. Later on, it came to an end by the capture of Orchha region by the Mughals under the leadership of Aurangzeb. So the next dynasty that we need to discuss here is the Baghel dynasty, that along with the Mughals, and the Baghel state territory was earlier named as Bhata. Right, so this Baghel state, which is present day Rewa territory, so that was named earlier as Bhata. So Bagheli basically originated from Gujarat. So these people basically originated from Gujarat when in Gujarat there was Alauddin Khilji who attacked Gujarat. So they migrated from that region and came to this Baghel area, and so they are called the Baghel dynasty. And Vyaghra Dev, he was the first Solanki ruler of the Baghel dynasty who ruled in this area, in this place of Baghel state, right? So Virbhan was the ruler of dynasty who helped Humayun in the battle of Chausa later on, and Raja Ramchandra Singh. So this part is really important, wherein Raja Ramchandra Singh was the most famous or the powerful ruler of the Baghel dynasty. He had control over Kalinjar fort, and Tansen was the great musician from the court of Ramchandra only. Okay, so Akbar at one time he wanted all of these great artists to be part of the Mughal court, so he took a lot of them from various of his states. And Tansen actually was a great musician who was part of the court of Ramchandra only, who was of the Baghel dynasty. Right. So the last ruler of Baghel dynasty were a ruler of Bhatta Pradesh, or the Vindhya Pradesh, was Martanda Singh. Later on, it merged in 1947 into the Indian Union. Okay, so the Baghel dynasty, which is present day Rewa, that. You can say began with Vyaghra Dev, who was the first Solanki ruler to rule here, and Raja Ramchandra Singh is really important to be discussed because Tansen was part of the court of Raja Ramchandra. Next is the Gond dynasty. This was located in the southeastern part of Madhya Pradesh in the 15th century, and Sangram Shah was the greatest ruler of the Gond dynasty, and Pulatsya Vanshi, he Sangram Shah was called in the inscriptions of his coins. Right. So after death of Sangram Shah, his son Dalpat Shah acceded the throne, and later on Dalpat Shah also accidentally died, wherein his wife Durgavati took over the throne, and Subedar Asif Khan invaded the state later on, and Durgavati herself fought heroically but committed suicide for her self-esteem. After that, Akbar included Gond state into his own empire. Okay, so Gond dynasty itself began with Sangram Shah, and then later on it was a part of Akbar's empire. Right. So now moving on to modern history of Madhya Pradesh, we have discussed about the prehistoric, ancient and medieval history of Madhya Pradesh. Now we are discussing about the modern history of Madhya Pradesh, and in the modern times, large parts of Madhya Pradesh were parts of the Maratha Empire, and Maratha Empire dominated large parts of North India, including parts of Madhya Pradesh. Right. So Bajirao I divided his large Maratha Empire into five convenient administrative territories of Indore, Gwalior, Dhar, Devas Senior, and Devas Junior. Okay, so these were the territories into which the Maratha Empire was divided by Bajirao I, and all of these territories had particular specific governors. Two of these territories, Indore and Gwalior, under Holkar and Sindhia, form part of Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so we need to remember that during the modern time, Marathas were the rulers who ruled large parts of Madhya Pradesh, and they dominated over North India. Also, Bajirao I himself divided this area into these five territories of Indore, Gwalior, Dhar. They were senior and they were junior, and as each had the governor, two of the territories out of that is of Indore and Gwalior, under Holkar and Sindhia, were part of Madhya Pradesh. So that is something that we need to remember. So we'll be talking about Holkar dynasty and Sindhia dynasty, right? So beginning with the Holkar dynasty, Indore itself was founded in the mid 18th century by Malhar Rao Holkar. Okay, so Holkar dynasty, they ruled over Indore, and this was founded by Malhar Rao Holkar in the mid 18th century. 1733, Bajirao Peshwa gave Indore as an award to Malhar Rao Holkar, is what is said, and Indore was made its capital, and Maharani Ahilya Bai Holkar herself was married to Khanderao, and Khandarao later on passed, and Rani Ahilya Bai went on to rule that place. So we get to look at various great women rulers who ruled parts of Madhya Pradesh, and that is really great, right? So she was born in Chaudi village in Maharashtra. So Rani Ahilya Bai herself was born in this village of Maharashtra. She shifted the capital to Maheshwar from which was along the bank of river Narmada, and she herself established wells, shelters, and temples for her subjects. She was popular among her people due to her welfare activities mainly, and she herself died in 1797. Yashwantrao Holkar III is an important name, important ruler about whom we need to discuss, because he was the last Maratha ruler, and he was defeated by the Britishers in 1818. He signed an instrument of accession to the Indian Union in 1950. The Holkar state acceded to the Union of the India. Okay, so Holkar dynasty is really important. So as we have seen, Marathas ruled over parts of Madhya Pradesh, and Holkar and Sindhia dynasty ruled over Madhya Pradesh. So Holkar dynasty in Indore, their rule continued, and Malhar Rao Holkar was the founder. And later on, the important part here is the discussion on Maharani Ahilya Bai Holkar. She went on to rule this area, and at the end we have Yashwantrao Holkar III, who ruled over this region, and he was the last Maratha ruler of the Holkar area, that is the Indore area, right? So uh, the next dynasty which we need to discuss on is the Sindhia dynasty. As we have seen, Marathas had these parts in Madhya Pradesh of Holkar dynasty and Sindhia dynasty. So Ranoji Sindhia was another Maratha governor, and he received the sanad or the governorship from Bajirao himself. Okay, he is considered to be the founder of the Sindhia state in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and Mahadji Sindhia was the famous ruler here, and is regarded as the greatest Sindhia warrior by the time of the dynasty itself. And he himself, Mahadji Sindhia himself, took part in the War of Panipat III, wherein Ahmad Shah Abdali, this was against Ahmad Shah Abdali, and after that he defeated Lokendra Singh Jat of Gwalior, captured the fort of Gwalior, and laid the foundation of Gwalior kingdom. Okay, Daulat Rao Shinde is known for a treaty of Basai. So later on, Daulat Rao Shinde ruled over was the ruler of the Sindhia dynasty. So his period of his reign was remembered is remembered for the Treaty of Basai and the Treaty of Surji Arjun Gaon. After Daulat Rao, Jankoji Rao acceded the throne, and later on, Jayaji Rao Scindia acceded the throne. Okay, so his personal army rebelled against British along with the Rani of Jhansi in 1857, First War of Independence. Okay, so Scindia dynasty is also really important. Ranoji Scindia himself was the most important ruler. He was the founder of the state Scindia dynasty state in Madhya Pradesh, and Mahaji Scindia later on was important here, greatest Scindia warrior. He is called Panipat 3 war. He took part in that. He also defeated Lokendra Singh Jat, and he captured the fort of Gwalior. Later on, Daulat Rao Shinde came in, and after Daulat Rao, Jankoji Rao and Jayaji Rao Scindia, they acceded the throne. So when Lakshmi Bai arrived in this area, then Jayaji Rao himself gave his army in support, and later on, the result was that British occupied the Gwalior fort, which was really unfortunate. And during Jayaji Rao's period, we can say Gwalior Gharana of classical music developed a lot. Also, the construction of Jai Vilas Palace in 1874 is attributed to him. Also, Kamla Raj Bhavan, Victoria College of Ujjain, all of these were established by Jayaji Rao Scindia. Okay, Maharaj Madhav Rao is also important one as far as the Scindia dynasty is concerned. He was keen on encouraging education. So Madhav Rao Scindia I was called Sir by the Britishers, and Madhav Rao made Shivpuri his summer capital. George Jewaji Rao Scindia was the last king of the Scindia dynasty, right? So important princely states of Bundelkhand. So if we talk about that, the first name that comes to us is of the Orchha princely state. Okay, so Orchha princely state is ruled over parts of Bundelkhand and is in Madhya Pradesh, obviously, and this was established after the decline of the Chandels. Orchha itself was controlled by Bundelas, right? So the founder of Orchha dynasty, you can say, is Rudra Pratap, who was a contemporary of Babur. And Jahangir had been given the throne of entire Orchha to Veer Singh Dev Bundela. So Veer Singh Dev Bundela got the entire area of Orchha by Jahangir, and Veer Singh Dev later on murdered Akbar's scholar Abul Fazl on the command of Jahangir. Right, so Jahangir and Veer Singh Dev were good friends, and they helped each other. So Orchha itself, it was founded by Rudra Pratap, as we have seen. So Veer Singh Dev, he gave birth to this new Bundeli architectural style. Okay, so art and culture was also prevailing at that time. So architectural style of Bundeli architectural style was developed by Veer Singh Dev of Orchha princely state. Around 52 buildings are what he had constructed. Out of them, Satkhand Palace of Datia, Keshorao Temple of Mathura, these are the famous ones. Okay, and he established the capital at Tehri, known as Tikamgarh, after 1787. Okay, so Dharmpal had defeated the French general of Scindia, is what is said, and the important thing here is that Dharmpal himself had three queens. Okay, so Garai queen, Ladai queen, and Harai queen. So Garai queen built this Nazar Bagh temple in Tikamgarh, and at the time of Bundela rebellion, Tej Singh had helped Rao Bhakt Singh of Chirgaon, while Ladai Queen supported Britishers. Ladai Queen was called Queen Victoria of Orchha, right? Because she supported the Britishers. So this was about the Orchha princely state. As we have seen, after the decline of Chandelas, it began by Rudra Pratap, and Jahangir gave this to Veer Singh Dev Bundela. and Veer Singh Dev himself made these architectural style famous, and various buildings were built by him. And Dharampal later on was part of the princely state of Orcha, and he had three queens, so they were unique, and they built various of these things that we have seen. So Ladai Queen was called the Queen Victoria of Orcha. Later on, the other dynasties were of the Charkhadi dynasty. The son of Chhatrasal, Jagraj, founded this Charkhari dynasty. Vijay Bahadur built the Esangar Lake and Vijay Sagar here, and Vijay Bahadur made Ranjit Singh's son Ratan Singh its successor, and it was opposed by King Parikshit and forwarded his claim on the Charkhari himself. Okay, so Charkhari dynasty, there was a lot of just like any other empire, any other dynasty, there was there were issues as far as the accession to the throne is concerned. So, a son of Chhatrasal began this, and later on, King Parikshit took over it. So, Shahgad princely state is another important one. King Chhatrasal divided his own state and carved out the Shahgad state, which was given to Hariday Shah, his son. And Prithviraj's revolt after that, Shahgad Gadkota state was formed, having the capital at Shahgad. After Prithviraj, Hari Singh became the king there, and his nephew Mardan Singh became the king later on. And Raghovji Bhonsle invaded Gadkota. Madan Singh died in the war with Raghuji Bhonsle, and Madan Singh's son Arjun Singh sought assistance from Scindia of Gwalior. Arjun Singh himself made Shahgad the capital of the remaining state that he had, and Arjun Singh passed away. And Bakht Bali became the king of Shahgad state later on. Okay, so the Governor General Alan Barrow himself invaded Scindia area, and in 1857 revolution, Banpur King Mardan Singh and Bakht Bali together established joint force to support Rani Lakshmi Bai, and in 1858 Bakht Bali surrendered after a tough struggle. Okay, so the other state we need to discuss is of the Chanderi Banpur state. So Bharat Singh got the Jagir of Chanderi in 1617 AD by Shah Jahan. So Bharat Singh himself got the Jagir of this area of Chanderi by Shah Jahan, Holkar and Scindia, but occupied it. Okay, so that was really unfortunate that Bharat Singh got the Jagir, but Holkar and Scindia, they together came and occupied this area. So Mardan Singh made the aim of acquiring the Chanderi area lost by his ancestors. Later on, Mardan Singh took up this challenge of getting it back and taking revenge. So Mardan Singh in 1844 captured Bundela rebel Madhukar Shah and handed him over to Hamilton. And Lord L.B. Baroni attacked Scindia because he was helped by the Bundela rebels themselves. Scindia gave away Chanderi. So Scindia was, as we know, under Holkar and Chanderi was under Holkar and Scindia, as we know, and that Chanderi was given away to the Britishers. And with the help of Bakht Bali, later on, Mardan Singh took over Chanderi. Okay, so Mardan Singh wanted to take over Chanderi, so he took over Chanderi somehow. British obviously recaptured it later on in 1858. Right, so this was about the Chanderi Banpur state. Moving on to Bhopal state. So discussion on Bhopal state is really important, not just from the historical point of view, but also from the point of view of women empowerment, because there were various begums who ruled the uh, Bhopal state from 1819 to 1926. Okay, so Bhopal state itself was founded by Dost Muhammad Khan, who was an Afghan soldier in the Mughal army. So you can see the Afghan soldier Dost Muhammad Khan founded this Bhopal state. He established the capital at Jagdishpur, which was 10 kilometers away from Bhopal, and later renamed it as Islam Nagar. Okay, so he built this capital at Jagdishpur, which was renamed as Islam Nagar, and Khan himself fortified the city of Bhopal in 1720s and assumed the title of Nawab of that area. Bhopal came under the suzerainty of Nizam of Hyderabad. Later on, 1737, Marathas defeated the Mughals and Nawab of Bhopal, and they took away that. And in 1818, Bhopal became a British princely state after the Third Anglo-Maratha War, wherein Marathas lost Bhopal to the British. Finally, it merged into the Union of India in 1949. Okay, so in this way, Bhopal state we have studied about, which was founded by Dost Muhammad Khan, who was an Afghan soldier himself, and the capital was at Jagdishpur, which was renamed as Islam Nagar. Khan himself fortified the city of Bhopal. Suzerainty of Nizam of Hyderabad. Bhopal went into Marathas defeated, but they were defeated by Mughals, and Bhopal later on became a British princely state after the Third Anglo-Maratha War. So it finally merged into the Union of India. So Bhopal state is really important because of its fame that their various Begums had their rule. In 1819 to 1926, Begums ruled this place. The first one is the Qadsia Begum she ruled from 1819 to 44. She was also called Begum. She was the first female ruler of Bhopal, and she built the Jama Masjid and Gohar Mahal there in Bhopal. Okay, Sikandar Jahan Begum, she was the daughter of Qadsia Begum, and she succeeded her mother there, and she also ruled. She took part in the revolt of 1857, but she sided with the British there and crushed all those who revolted. Okay, so this was something that was not good, but yes, she did that. She also built the Moti Masjid and Moti Mahal. Okay, so Shah Jahan Begum was the next. She was quite passionate about the architecture. Okay, so they also had their interest in the art and culture, and she was really passionate about architecture. She established this city of Shah Jahanabad, and Kalkhusrau Jahan Begum was the successor of Shah Jahan Begum, and she advanced the emancipation of women. She fought for their upliftment and coming out of the patriarchal thought of that time. Obviously that was something that was totally unique at that time, because the throne went to men, and the importance was given to men, all of that, but this was something unique, right? So Sultan Kaikusar Rao Jahan Begum's son Nawab Hamidullah Khan ascended the throne later on. So he was also given the title of the Chancellor of the Chamber of Princes. He was the Chancellor of the Chamber of Princes, and later on the assimilation of Bhopal state into Indian Union happened. But Nawab Hamidullah Khan did not wanted that. He wanted a separate state of Bhopal, but local agitation broke out there against the Nawab, and the local people wanted Bhopal to be part of India, and ultimately Nawab had to sign this agreement of merger. Right, so in that way, Bhopal state became a part of Indian Union, and it became a part C state. So we have studied about part A, B, C, D states as far as our history, modern history, and our polity is concerned. So there we know about that. So we also begin a discussion on the contribution of Madhya Pradesh in the freedom movement. So we'll just begin this, but continue the discussion on that in the next session. So the revolt in Madhya Pradesh before 1857 is really important. This revolt began by the Bhosles initially. Appaji Bhosle was the ruler of Nagpur state. He revolted against the Britishers in 1818. Right, and this revolt was mainly because of the forceful occupation of the areas of Mandla, Betul, Chhindwara, Sioni, and parts of Narmada Valley by the Britishers. And with the help of Arabian soldiers, Appa Sahib fought the Britishers. Okay. Also, Devnath Singh revolted against the Britishers. In 1833, he fought strongly against these Britishers, and the British power was obviously later on successful in suppressing this revolt. So we can see the contribution of Madhya Pradesh in freedom movement. The revolt in Madhya Pradesh itself before 1857, we can say began with Bhonsle, Apaji Bhonsle, who was the ruler of Nagpur, was very actively involved in this revolt against Britishers because of the occupation of the Britishers of various of their areas. Also, Devnath Singh came up against the British rule there, right? So, in this way, we have discussed parts of the major events and major dynasties of Madhya Pradesh, the ancient, medieval, and modern history. We will be discussing about Madhya Pradesh contribution in the freedom movement. We will continue the discussion. Thank you all the best. I hope you have liked this session. For any other query, you can contact us on these numbers.